Oops. Okay. Got a new setup going, so I'm figuring this out. Hi, everyone. Beautiful beings. How are we doing? Can you guys hear me? Please let me know. Experimenting with camera and microphones. You know how that goes. Yay, loud and clear. Love to hear that. Oh, I should probably plug this in. It's always so good to be here. Such a blessing. This is different. It's hard to look at the camera because now I'm just looking at the back of my phone. Hopefully that's not distracting. But really, it's just about the energy. It's about the message. And so much came through today. I'm really, really excited to share. You know, I actually, this time, I even made like a list because there's just so many things that I want to make sure that I get to. So, yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I feel just so much love and gratitude while we wait for people to stream in. Everyone is streaming in. Hi, Angie. Hello, hello. Eternal Truth, early today. Subliminal Vibrations. I love you too. Johnny, hello, hello. I feel so good. I feel so in my heart right now. And I'm just so thankful. And I want to talk about that today. You know, today I have, you know, obviously just going to flow, but I do have a little bit of an agenda. You know, I felt really strong, the Divine Mother, specifically Mary Magdalene energies. I feel her like really strong. So, you know, I can feel, we're going to be in the vein of talking about compassion, you know, having more compassion. That's truly, I feel like, a huge part of the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Yule, the winter solstice. You know, there's all kinds of names for it, but we'll get into that, you know, this very special time of year. And I know that I'm talking again to those in the Northern Hemisphere, which I feel like is probably most of you guys, but I know that, you know, we have some beautiful brothers and sisters in Australia and perhaps other parts of the world. So, you know, you can still apply this to wherever you are and just appreciate the balance, you know, because how beautiful is it that, you know, during one time of the year, we have, cat fight in the other room, if you could hear that. But my friend Mary is taking care of it. But how beautiful, you know, during one time of the year, it's, you know, on one part of the earth, it's, you know, really dark and cold. And in the other part of the world, it's also really warm and light. So it just kind of, you know, just another example of the natural balance that is the fractal of life. And what else? Talking about, again, compassion, forgiveness, true strength, and the heart and mind connection, because that's something that's, you know, really been on my heart and my mind lately in my reality. And again, yeah, talking about just this beautiful cycle that we find ourselves in with, again, the light and the dark. And I put organic darkness, that's just what I call it. And I'm going to get into what I really mean by that before, if you don't already know. And just some beautiful practices that we can also, you know, that we can all do at this time of year. I feel like to really tap into this portal, this solstice, and just really feel the immensity of it, and so much more. Hi, Che Dante. Hi, Bone Man. Thank you so much. Thank you for that extremely generous donation. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hi, Blank Reg. So good to see everybody. Everybody pouring in. And then at the end, we'll do a little prayer, a little meditation. Because, of course, why wouldn't we? So love to see you all. Thank you so much. Feel free to let me know how you guys are doing or feeling, or if you're celebrating anything this year. I know it's still kind of early, but this is kind of going to be, by the next time you see me, it might already have been the solstice and Christmas and all these things. So I just want to celebrate this and speak on this now. So we've got a lot of people here now. Let's just take a moment before we dive into these messages to perhaps set an intention. I invite all of you to set an intention for this stream and what you hope to feel out of it. It could just be simple. Setting intentions is so powerful, and just coming into your breath, coming into your heart, perhaps imagining a beautiful golden light all around you. These things are very powerful, simple things that we can learn to do, remember to do, really, throughout our day. That just really, really helps us stay in our heart, stay aligned with who we are truly in our higher selves. And this is a beautiful time to just connect and enjoy. My whole intention with this is just to serve all the love and compassion I can in this moment. So, if you can just let go of, if you can take this time to let go of any fears or worries, they may be going on, and just be in the moment and be present, then I think that would be really, really beautiful. If you can tell, I have like this different energy because, well, maybe we'll get there in a moment. I feel really in my heart because I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. This whole year, I've been kind of like really observing my addiction to coffee personally. Something, it's kind of normal, I suppose, in our society, but it's something that has been a part of my life since I was a teenager, just like pounding coffee and caffeine every day. And I've just really been observing it and kind of going back and forth of getting off coffee and then kind of getting back into it and getting off it, which is kind of a lot if you've ever tried, because the withdrawals of coffee can be pretty strong. You have to kind of go through this period of feeling so tired once you get off of it. But I've really had this huge connection, and I'm sharing this because it's relevant to the messages I want to share today. And it's just, this is just my personal experience with coffee. Everybody is unique. It's probably not the worst drug, but it is a drug. But I realized that it's something that has served me so much in my life, and I'm grateful for it. It served me because many of us, I feel, again, I can only really speak for myself at least, what even started my addiction to coffee was just trying to, I guess it's just something that helps you to show up for life. It's like liquid optimism in a way. It definitely makes you feel happier, I would say, but it also makes life in a way more tolerable. Again, just speaking from my experience, when I started drinking coffee, it was because I was trying to show up for school, like high school, or show up for my job that I maybe didn't really feel like I wanted to go to, but I needed that energy. I needed that motivation, and I needed that, coffee really puts me in my head. It makes me like really, really in my head, which is something that I feel like I needed. But lately I've been realizing that's actually not been to my benefit. Doing what I do, especially doing, energy healing and readings and channeling music and all of these things really, really asks me to be in my heart. And it's a very distinct energy. And I really want to get into that because I know I say that, and a lot of people always say to get into your heart, but I feel like that can be abstract. So I want to really share like what I really mean by that. Because it's not like just a metaphor. I mean, it truly is a different consciousness when you're like in your heart. And for me, I just realized so clearly that coffee gives me the opposite effect. It puts me so in my mind. And for most of us, but especially me, it's like I'm already so in my mind. I don't need to be more in my mind. I don't need my thoughts to be racing. Meanwhile, my heart is racing and my body is jittery and nervous. I realized from my work, especially what I'm doing, it's like, if anything, I need my thoughts to like slow down. I don't need my thoughts to be going crazy and come into my heart as the center. Because when I'm in my heart, that's when all of my visions are so crystal clear. And that's when you literally live in a it's like living in truly in a different reality, because even your thoughts, when you're in your heart, your thoughts are in such a higher quality. um, so it's really, really helpful, especially, in your spirituality. Again, I'm just sharing from my experience, my realization. So I feel so good, because I feel like normally, I'll have coffee before I do these streams, and I'll kind of be like really jittery and anxious, actually, thinking that it's helping me, but really I think it's been distracting me. So I feel really calm, just that invitation, especially in this time of year. Like, I don't need to be jacked up. There's actually a really important thing to be gained from slowing down, from being in your heart, from, what's the word? Just being clear. Because in your heart, there's a knowingness that in the mind, like, there's a quote from the beautiful Nikola Tesla. I'm paraphrasing, but something like he says, and this was in his time. It's like way more extreme now, I would say, but I think he says something like scientists are thinking deeply, but they're not thinking clearly. And I feel like that's a huge thing to remember, is the mind can go really, really deep in all kinds of rabbit holes. Maybe sometimes they are true of the truth, but sometimes they're so abstract and it gets to be almost nonsense. So just a reminder of like clarity, having thinking clearly. And I feel like being in your heart, it's like that's where you really, really feel clearly. So I don't know why that just wanted to come out, because it's relevant to what I'm sharing about, coming into the heart. So because it is the holiday season and everybody is celebrating differently, and also, hi Anna, beautiful soul sister. Oh, thank you so much for showing up. Beautiful, beautiful. Hello, Shat Bricks. Subliminal vibrations. Yeah, it is. It really is quite a drug. It's just so interesting. But there's just so much beauty to be said to coming back to your natural energy, because our body is so intelligent. But again, having compassion for ourselves and not beating ourselves up for these things, because that tends to just make it worse. But I digress. I want to get to, pun intended, the heart of of this video. Is just a reminder. I just feel a huge reminder of the beauty of, just a reminder again of compassion, having compassion for ourselves and for others. Because I think this is such a beautiful time of year, truly. I've been learning more and more why this is such a special time of year. But I also know that for many people, this is one of the hardest times of the year, especially when you look at humanity. I know, whether it's because of, some people don't have family, or maybe some people have the opposite problem. They have a bunch of family, but, they feel like the black sheep, or, maybe their family stresses them out. And that's another thing too, many people going into the holiday season are going to be around family members that perhaps they don't resonate with, or, there can be all kinds of stressors in this time of year. So I just want to have a heart-centered reminder to have compassion for yourself and have compassion for others. And remember that we're not here to fix people, we're here to actually serve. And there's a difference, and that is something I invite people to ponder on, because I think oftentimes it's so easy to make projections on people, like, oh, I'm upset because of this person, or like this person has a serious problem, or like I need this person to change for me, and no guilt, no shame. It's like we all do this. That's why I'm speaking on this. And sometimes it gets even more subtle. But that's the beauty of really when you come into your heart. And I've talked about this before, because I've had this really beautiful meditation, and I come back to it time and time again, where I tap into, again, the beautiful energy of Yeshua and ascended masters like Yeshua. And A message that has come through time and time again is, how are these beings able to walk the earth, the hostile earth, with such love, true love and grace and power, and they were able to truly speak the word of God. They were able to heal people and assist people and literally be in the light. They were able to face evil without batting an eye. And a huge part that I've come to learn how they were able to do that was they were so in their heart. They were so connected to who they were. They were so, so unshakably connected to God that nothing could threaten them. No one could threaten them. Internally, nothing could shake it. Because when you're in the heart, you have that knowing, you have that connection, you have that love. Sometimes when we're so in the mind, which, we all, I feel, have been programmed to so be in the mind, again, it's so easy to get swept away by these thoughts, or even, ironically, even more so by emotions, by triggers, really, by getting triggered and going into these stories. And then when we go in and identify with these stories, it's a lot easier to act on our fear, to act on our projection, to act on our insecurity, and to project it on others. I've said this before, but there's a Carl Jung quote where he says, projections aren't something we do as much as they are something that happens to us. And that really is accurate, I think, because it's how it feels. A lot of times, it's like our triggers, our projections with people, especially, for example, family, or, people that have maybe we have trauma with them. So it's really easy to be triggered by them. Just a reminder, if you don't, if you need it, is that, it's always wise to feel through anytime you're triggered, to always feel through that before acting on it. Because in my experience, because sometimes you feel so justified, but I've never acted on a trigger and it's went well for me. The universe has this funny thing where it's like when you act on your anger, like, or, and I understand sometimes anger, there's different types of anger, but if you have knee jerk reactions to others and you just want to like just immediately like project that on them, the universe has this funny thing where it's going to mirror it right back to you. No matter who it is, even people you love, it's really funny. I've noticed that time and time again. It's like, it's just going to keep mirroring you. And it's like, why am I not getting anywhere with this person? And I think that's just because we have to take that extra time and energy, if we're on this spiritual path, to observe, notice the knee-jerk reaction, and instead of reacting on it, take responsibility, the ability to respond. Come within. Why am I triggered? What does this make me feel? Like, what do I feel in my body? Do I feel insecure? Do I feel threatened? Do I feel unseen? Um, does it remind me of a pattern or some of trauma or something that I've been through? Um, and feel through that and heal through that first. And it doesn't mean that the other person is necessarily right. You might have to, a lot of cases, you probably do have to take action in perhaps setting a boundary with this person, or, doing something of that nature. But that's the thing, is when you come at it and you set that boundary or you set that intention with the person that's triggering you or whatever it is, but you already healed that trigger. You're not coming from that reactive state. You're coming from okay, I cleared this within myself. I'm in peace now. That's when you have so much power. That's when you have so much power. And honestly, that is something that has shifted all of my relationships time and time again. From the easiest to the most difficult relationships. It's like practicing that is something that really shifts my relationships. And honestly, not even just with people, but also with things, because everything is a relationship. You have a relationship with your goals. You have a relationship with Your creativity, your creations. You have a relationship with things like, you know, your money and bills and, maybe more material things like this. Like everything is relationship. And there truly is so much power. And I feel like people here are so already heart centered, truly, I can just feel it. But it's just a reminder and maybe even to assist others with having compassion for people and being able to see people for who they really are, because we all have trauma. And that's really why we're here. That's another thing that's been coming up so strong is, for me, remembering the big picture time and time again. For me, this really, really helps, and maybe it'll be helpful for others, is remembering the bigger picture. Remember why we're here, because I know in the core of my being that one of the biggest reasons I'm here, that is at the forefront of my mind and heart, is to serve. Obviously we have to take care of ourselves fully first, but I'm here to serve. I'm here to truly assist humanity. I came to the earth to give love, to give love. And we all did. And we all have our own unique ways of doing this, and you can go into your heart and tap into that. So when I come back to that purpose, it just recenters me. It always recenters me, you know, because in another way to look at it, that sometimes I think people say is like new agey or woo woo, but it's really not. It's just the reality, truly, that I found is that, we came here on mission. We came here on a mission. We came here with a purpose. We came here, you could even say, on assignment. So I remind myself that every day. I really do. And it keeps me so focused. It keeps me in gratitude and in love, in a way where it keeps me from getting hung up, I guess, on certain details, because it's been so important for me to remind myself. It's almost like a full circle moment where, and I think, again, a lot of people are going to relate to this. That's why it's coming up, where, we awaken and we have that innate desire to help. I think that's just part of who we really are. I mean, humanity, the evil, the darkness, it's so frustrating. It can be so daunting, but at the core of it, we want to help. And I think that's the attitude that we should remember, that's so helpful. And instead of going into that victim mentality, is remembering, like, asking yourself, what can I do? What can I do to assist? And having that warrior spirit, bringing back that true warrior spirit, like a warrior of love. And it just helps to not get so hung up on, like, for example, material things. And that's another thing, is like, being human it's a lot. It's truly, and it really is like a juggling act, because there's so much that we're juggling. We're juggling being human. We're juggling, like, I don't know, whatever it is, working a job, dealing with money, dealing with bills, dealing with um, people and work, you know, trying to pursue our goals, trying to pursue our health, trying to do these very human things that are beautiful and important. But then also juggling, I'm on mission. I'm a spiritual being. I'm a divine being. I'm from beyond this world, and evolving that understanding. And, it's a lot to balance. So for me, that's one of my biggest intentions. And I'm going to get more into this later on, is just the power of balance. That's a huge theme for me. And that's one of my greatest intentions for 2023, is to bring balance into my life, because I think there's so many extremes, especially when we're living in a realm of duality, where everything it's black or it's white. And a lot of times we're apt to think it's either or, when really a lot of things, I find, when you start dealing with this multidimensional reality, it's not either or. A lot of times it's both and more, and that's really important to understand, because I think, as we begin to understand more and more about reality, which there's so much, I feel like we've come so far, and still, we're, um, I say this with all my love. It's like we're almost like kindergartners or something, like, as far as understanding reality, and I say that with the love, is like, there's so much more for us to learn and expand our consciousness. And so it's just good to, I guess, have that humility. I can't remember where I heard this, but it's humility, not humiliation, humility. Just being humble. Because that's the thing, is like when you're humble, that's people who are truly humble are people who are really secure in themselves. And again, it comes back full circle to the heart. Being in the heart. It's truly. So I just want to again say, like, what do I even mean by being in the heart? Because again, people say that, and I think a lot of times, like, it's not really explained what that really means. But it's a specifically different consciousness, because being in your mind, and again, I think this is true for everyone because we're so programmed to just be in our mind. But when you're in your mind, and I'm just gonna, again, I can only speak from my experience as someone who observes this stuff, as someone who is very in my mind. I'm very much an air sign, like I'm very airy, so I'm very inclined to just be in these mental realms. But when you're really only like in an unbalanced way in your mind, and that's why I gave that coffee example, because that was just like, for me, that was a realization, like that's an old way of being for me, that I don't really resonate with anymore, is like being so in my mind. And it's great for getting, again, I just want to say, like, matrix things done, not to oversimplify, but it's great for, like, again, in my past, having to go to school, going to work, cutting hair, being a waitress, things that I used to do. It's like I feel like I needed that mental stimulation. But as I'm going on my journey now, being in your mind, if you're, again, in an unbalanced way, you're not really in your heart or in your body, or perhaps even in your spirit. It's like, that's kind of that energy of where you're not really grounded, so you're kind of just floating, like, all over the place. And it's weird, it's abstract, but that's what the mind is. The mind is very abstract, and you can be like in these rabbit holes, like, for a long time, whether it's the stories about who you are, the stories about who this person is, the stories about what you need to do, the stories about your trauma, what else? All these stories, all these things that we get so sucked into, and it becomes our reality, because we focus on it. And our focus is our most valuable gift we have, because what we focus on will become, in one way or another. That's really how it works. Our focus is our power. That's our light that we shine on, whatever it is that we're focusing on or observing. So we can get really, really out here, like, just out here again, thinking really, really deeply, but maybe not thinking really clearly. And so coming into the heart is like dropping down. It's literally like dropping down into the heart, like in your body, because this is a really important thing that I've learned time and time again. And I'm really practicing, and it's a practice, because I'm someone who's so in my mind, I will disassociate. Like, that's one of the things that I've, since a child, like, I will literally disassociate from this reality, like, a lot. Like, I'll catch myself just spacing out all the time. And sometimes that is a gift. Again, it's that balance, though. It is sometimes a gift to be able to do that. It's part of why I am the way I am. But you have to be able to reel it in. You have to know when to reel it in and have that balance. So coming into your heart, being in the mind, it feels like a million different options. For example, if you're trying to contemplate on something, being only in your mind, it's like you're in all kinds of stories, based on your what you know. But when you drop into your heart, it's a knowing. It truly is a knowing. And it's literally, that's what I was saying, is like coming into your body, learning to actually come into our body. As I was saying, giving how that example about how me, like, I feel like I often am apt to disassociating, like, from this reality, from my body. And it might sound weird, but it's actually so common. It's so common, and I see this all the time. It's actually rare for people to be in their bodies, because being in the body is, it's heavy, it's different, it often is um, uncomfortable, especially, we've all had trauma in one degree or another. So a lot of times when we have trauma in our childhoods, or throughout our life, A lot of times if we don't heal that trauma, that's another part of us kind of disassociating from our body. Like, oh, like we just want to go up here in the energetic realms where it feels easier and safer for us. But I think part of our journey, part of this evolution, as I've said before, is coming back into the body. So that's kind of what I mean. Again, really just in depth explaining this in my experience. So coming into the heart again, it's literally dropping down into your heart. So first and foremost, just feeling your heartbeat, just literally feeling your physical heartbeat. That's literally your rhythm. That's your rhythm. You can even pat it. We actually have like pressure points right here. So even like tapping your heart right here, tapping or like patting or like something really beautiful I like to do is, you can do a beat here and even like sing to it or chant to it, get creative with it. But I digress. I always go in a million directions with this, but I just really wanted the understanding to be clear. So coming into your heart, feeling your heartbeat, feeling your heart space. And it's actually been shown scientifically that the electromagnetic field around our heart is like, I can't remember. I think it's literally like 10 times bigger than the one around our minds. Our heart is the magnet. Our heart's field is huge because it's not, people think the heart is just about feeling emotions. That's not it at all. The heart is the love. That's why the heart is the center, literally and metaphorically. The heart is the center. So the heart space is huge. That's why it's so important to tap into it. And when you go into your heart, again, I repeat myself, it's like you have a knowing. Like, whereas the mind feels very anxious a lot of times because it's all over the place and it doesn't even really have anything solid to grasp onto. When you go down into the heart is solid. The heart is knowing. The heart is neutrality. The heart, and what do I mean by the heart is knowing? It's beyond words, but it just knows without a shadow of a doubt. It just knows its presence. I am here. I am in my body. I am safe. I am alive. I am tuned in. It's like our greatest portal to God, truly. To God, to unconditional love, to source, to your higher self, to whatever you see, the universe. That is literally our direct connection. So that's what it means by coming into your heart. When you're in your mind, it's like and that's why I have to come to this realization for myself and my journey, because for what I'm doing, it's like I really need to be in my heart to serve people. It's like there's no question about it. I need to be solid in my heart because that's when my visions are most clear. Because here's the thing, when you're in your heart, it's a practice, practice being in your heart, feeling that connection, feeling that it's like, because when you drop into your heart, it's an instant calm. It's like an instant calm. It's an instant knowingness. It's an instant peace. It really is. Presence. And when you're in your heart, that's when the quality of your thoughts are going to be way higher. And that's when your mind no longer becomes your master. That's when your mind becomes, as they say, your helpful servant. That's when your heart, or that's when your visions become so much more clear. So again, for what I'm doing, if I'm tapping into, channeling something, and for me, that's like a really sacred practice. Like I don't, I don't take that lightly. Again, whether it's music or guidance or messages or visions that I'm seeking, when I'm in my heart, the visions are so clear and so strong. Whatever the visions are, sometimes it's a knowing again, sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's a sense, sometimes it's a vision. And that's when it's so crystal clear. Again, in the mind, it's like a million options. It's like, oh, it could be this, blah, 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 blah. Really ungrounded if it's not balanced. But when you're in your heart, it's like, boom, you just know. You just know. So, so beautiful. I really just want to explain that. And again, just like tapping into that compassion, because you can't bypass that. It's like, it's interesting, or it's easy to get caught up, I feel like, on a lot of these interesting concepts. whatever it is. There's lots of things, whether it's and these are all things that I love. The ascension, Earth's true history, other dimensional beings, multidimensional things, all kinds of stuff, that to think about. But at the end of the day, it's like what really is going to evolve you forward is your heart, is your love, is your compassion for yourself and for others. Remembering, there's just so much pain and density that all of humanity has experienced, and it's generational. It's an ongoing cycle. Um, so people, again, whether it's your family or strangers or people, and this isn't to say you need to take their shit, because I don't support that at all. It's always a balance of do no harm, take no shit. Never be a doormat. That's not sacred. That's not holy. You got to have your boundaries. You can't treat yourself in a way that is not loving, and you can't let others treat you in a way that's not loving. So that's just to be clear. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But again, it's a balance. Again, that do no harm but take no shit. That's a great mantra that I live by. It's like I'm not going to be a doormat by any means, but at the same time, I'm not going to lash out at people and I don't want to perpetuate that cycle, because at some point somebody has to have wisdom and mercy for people. At some point you can't just mirror back everybody's bullshit. That's not helping anyone. It's not helping you. It's not helping them. It's not helping humanity. That's not what Jesus did. That's not what the Ascended Masters did. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to just project your stuff onto people, especially, for example, like unawakened people. But we came here to truly be the light. What would Jesus do? I really do live by that. I think about that often, you know, in my life, because that's just where I'm at. That's how I want to live my life. That's honestly the easy way to live. It's not always easy to do because it involves having to grow, but ultimately that's when you're going to have the most peace in your life. You're not going to have all these discordant relationships in your life. It's like you're going to have peace knowing that you treated them with love and you treated yourself with love, because I feel like a lot of people need that more than anything. I talked about that a couple videos ago, the whole narcissistic and codependent thing. Very easy to see the narcissists, the people that go out and harm others. Many of us understand that clearly, but with the codependent side can be even more twisted, because that's the side that will just endlessly harm itself and sacrifice itself, and just leave the self in such a broken state. And again, you got to find that balance, that narrow path, as Dragon Sage said. So let me go up here and read these comments, these beautiful comments. I love you guys so much. Thank you for sharing your comments. And it's so beautiful to see you guys supporting each other in the comments. It's just, or in the chat. It's true community that we're building here. And I love it so much. So hi, Ashman, beautiful Ashman. Need to get a hold of you soon. Dragon Sage, hello. Yeah, walk the narrow way. Eternal truth. The curiosity to learn something new keeps life exciting. Exactly. Life is constantly like unboxing yourself, because it's like as soon as we get ourselves out of this box that we were put ourselves in, it's like almost immediately we realize we're even in a bigger box. And that's fun. That's part of the fun of it. That's part of the journey. Yeah, growing that curiosity, because the curiosity, like the frequency of wonder and our imagination, like children, our imagination is our link to the higher self. The imagination is the third eye. And I think we're all, activating those abilities, those sacred abilities. Again, to really see in your third eye, you have to be in your heart. Otherwise, like, I'm not going to lie to you guys, there's all kinds of like manipulations and like astral entities. I see it quite often. There's all kinds of things that can like mislead you. And I don't say that to fear, but it's just something, that's why discernment is so important. But that's why being in your heart is so important, because when you're in your heart, your discernment is crystal clear. Clarity is so important. Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you, Dragon Sage. Beautiful. I love your name, by the way. Love that. Love dragons so much. Beautiful dragons. Heart is a Taurus field. Yeah, your heart literally is a magnet. You know, like you're. I've said this before. I think this is kind of common, at least in these spiritual communities. We talk about how like the heart or the mind is electric, and the heart is magnetic. So, the thoughts, we are creator beings. No matter what. So it's like your thoughts are going out and, creating and attracting all these things. But it's your heart, it's your love, it's your gratitude, it's your faith, it's your compassion, it's your joy. That's the magnet that's pulling it in, pulling it in, pulling it in, pulling it in. What happens if we fail to have an energetic heart exchange with others? Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, well, I think even this is a hard exchange. I think it's really important to have, hard exchanges in your life. It's that, authentic human relatedness. It's having those relationships in your life. It starts with yourself always. Always, always, always. I know, and I'm a living example. It's like the more I truly love myself, all that I am in my entirety, the more loving people and loving relationships come into my life. It's not really something you can force. And you might not be able to have energetic heart exchanges with everyone. If some people's hearts are really closed off, um, you can't always have that, but you can still send them love. And I know that it still affects them. Even if it doesn't look like it. Again, just going back to Yeshua or Mary Magdalene, these beautiful beings that walked the earth with so much love, and these ascended masters that continue to be here with us in so much love and service to us. Um, their love, their hearts changed the world huge and continue to change the world. Even though there's many times, especially when imagine being incarnated on earth in that time where it wouldn't, you probably wouldn't each see, you know, how much you would be affecting the world truly. you know. One day we would love to meet your cat. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, I'll have to go get him. He can be really really vocal. So sometimes I keep him out of my room when I do these. But maybe one of these times, he is so precious. He is so beautiful. He is our animal companions. If you have them, just know they really are such guardians and protectors of you energetically. They are incredible. Always love and honor. I always again shield my pets because they do so much for us, beyond what we can even understand, I think. And thank you, Blank Reg. Thank you, Eternal Truth. Beautiful, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for your generosity. It's so sweet. Never expected, but always appreciated. So thank you. Did I miss something? Um, oh, yeah. What if you can't control your mind sometimes? Again, that's why coming into the heart, that's what I just explained. Maybe I already answered your question, but that's why learning to practice coming into the heart. It is a practice, it is a practice, but you get better and better at it. And it's the most worthwhile practice because I truly believe we're in a time where we're meant to lead with our hearts, truly leading with our hearts. Even just your own life, leading it in your life with your heart, it makes things so much more simple. Because again, we have mind control, first of all, and mind control is the control of the mind. It's got people twisted, and a lot of times, even in our own lives, I can see in my life how through my mind alone, I've been tricked in the past and I've had to learn. I've had to learn how to come into my heart because your heart will just guide you. You know, if you feel like really, for example, if there's people that you feel really really drained around, that's your body, your heart telling you, maybe you shouldn't be around that person. I know sometimes we can't always control these things, but that's just one example of listening to your heart, because the heart knows. The heart knows if somebody is lying to you. The heart knows if someone is being truthful with you. Yeah, the mind is a labyrinth, the heart is the way out. Subliminal vibrations, exactly. It's a great way to put it. Let's see. I do not know how to confront a friend who said some not so nice things to other person who I'm beginning to form an amazing friendship with. I don't know how to handle this in a loving way, but also protect my heart. Said person is also just not the type of person I see myself investing more in, unfortunately. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Like I said before, relationships are the things that sometimes can be the most challenging because, again, finding that balance of having boundaries and protecting yourself and honoring yourself. We don't need to, if we don't, honestly, I know this is kind of a hard truth, but it's just something I learned time and time again. I really believe, like, if there's people that are not resonating with you, not benefiting you, not helping you, if you feel like they have anything but love for you, I don't think that you owe it to them to give them your energy. But at the same time, it doesn't mean, be unkind to them or be incompassionate to them. But there is a middle path, of being loving, but being who you are. Because that's the thing a lot of people don't understand about unconditional love is it does start with yourself, because when you let people treat you in a way that you don't resonate with, if you let people treat you or, other people you love in a way that is unkind, in a way you're also enabling them. And that's again where the mind, that's what I was just saying, like the mind, our logic will try to make up stories of, well, I should still, do this for that person or do this for that person. But your body, your heart just knows, and I've had to do this in my life many times. I know it's not always, it's one of the hardest things probably, but it really is that balance of being loving but being honest. People aren't entitled to your energy if you don't feel that they have true love for you, and because ultimately if you get attachments to people like that, it can, um, yeah, like it can be really really draining. So, something else I like to do when I find myself in um, situations like this is, again, it's like full circle. Just let go of all the stories when you get the chance in a moment. For a moment, just let go of all the stories. And as I was just saying, drop into the heart and feel and ask for guidance. You can't underestimate the power of contemplation. And contemplation really means, I guess it's a form of meditation, but it's because the answers will always come to you. A lot of times, again, being in our minds, it's like we want to just like overthink about everything and just justify myself or justify this person and go back and forth with all these things. um, but really, when you come to your heart and you contemplate on anything, whether it's a situation like this or if it's, trying to find answers to anything, doing what I was talking about, coming into your heart and just being still in your heart, because the answers will come to you, whether they come to you in that moment or whether you just sit with it, sit with it for a while, maybe you sit with it for days and you'll know what to do. And Vince says, without context, no recommendation is valid. Was the unkind thing said true? that makes a big difference right off the bat. Yeah, and that's definitely true. It is hard to say anything without context, and I never want to tell people what to do because everything is always on a case by case basis. In most cases, again, it's like that's the interesting part about our realities. It's like there's lots of seeming paradoxes, but it's not really paradoxes. It's just the fact that I don't know. We live in a multidimensional realm, so sometimes something that is really really true. In other cases, it might be something else. But don't worry, Angie. I know you got this. Just find your love. You already have the answers within you. You really really do. It's just, I think it's the thoughts that clog us up. Um, that really, again, it's that electrical energy, which is such a blessing, but too much of it can just be so overwhelming. And we're creating these stories like, yeah, like the justifying this. Well, this, it's like a whole drama, in your head. And when you come into your heart, it just allow it to be simple and have strength. You don't have to, it is your free will on, the relationships that you allow into your life. And it's really really important to, and I know it can be hard, but and it is a balance that you have to find within yourself. But are you going to allow this person in your life and have the necessary boundaries and have the compassion for them and be patient with them? Are they willing to grow with you? Are they willing to hear, just, you could, like, if you were to be honest with how you feel about what they said, would they be able to receive that? Would you be able to just keep it real? Again, it's a fine line, but honesty is compassion. Being honest, it doesn't mean you have to be brutal, but you can find a way to just say, hey, just say the truth. And then at that point, it's kind of up to them how they respond to that. And yeah, and if they're not willing to grow with you, then at that point, maybe that they're just not compatible with you anymore. That's a huge thing to think about with relationships. A lot of times it's like, you don't even have to make the other, it's not always, a lot of times, like, I find it's not about making the other person wrong. A lot of times it's actually just about, we're not compatible. you know that's a big one in any relationship. And it changes, especially on the spiritual journey. A lot of times it changes. And so, ask yourself, without having even to make the other person wrong, are we even still compatible? Are we even enjoying this relationship anymore? Because a lot of times it's actually mutual. And if the answer is no, then it's like, why are we doing this? You can uh, allow that to be released with grace, with love, but firmness, balance. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful. You'll make the right decision. I feel like you already know. I feel like you really already know. And just have compassion for yourself. See yourself from like a higher perspective. And how would, like, if for example, think of someone that you really, really love dearly. If someone treated them that way or their kids that way, how would you feel? How would you might have a different perspective on, like, yeah, like, they don't deserve that. We don't need to sit here and let people do that to us. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I love when, you guys bring real examples, to the table, because it is so real. It is something that is a perfect example of a challenge that, many of us face in one way or another. These things that can be very complex, especially with relationships with other people, finding that balance. Because I see people, other people, there's so many different ways people recommend going about that. But for me, again, it always comes down to my heart and my balance. So maybe we'll come back to that. I'm going to kind of keep flowing along here. But yeah, that is a really good example. So that's kind of, again, like, just to conclude, that heart mind connection, being in your heart, allows you so much to use your mind in the way that it was intended to be used, not in a way that is controlling and enslaving you, because that's mind control, right? It's not just about the government. It's actually just about how we live our lives. Um, it's like the mind control goes so deep, living our lives in a way that is, sometimes having these beliefs that we have to live our lives in a way that is draining to us, or in a way that's unfulfilling to us. And when you come into the wisdom of the heart and even the wisdom of the body, it just, everything is so simple. It's not so convoluted. And yeah, Angie, you did not interrupt the flow. As I said, these are really perfect examples. This is really the kind of stuff people are going through. We're all going through this stuff. And I love to get into that nitty gritty stuff, because I feel like, honestly, that's the most important thing we can do. We can talk, I love to talk about these beautiful things, and sometimes even maybe grandiose concepts and all these things. But if you, again, and these knowings, but if you can't apply it in the wisdom in your actual day-to-day life, you can know all about all these multidimensional beings and be in contact with all these ascended masters and do all this, beautiful work, be aware of all these things going on. But again, if you can't actually apply them to your human life, it's like you miss the point, in my opinion. That's what I've learned, and that's what I want to talk about too, is just, I can't emphasize the balance, 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 balance. This balance of these things I'm talking about. It's so exciting to think about these multidimensional beings and things of that nature. But again, like, that's kind of who we really are and where we came from. But we incarnated on Earth to be human, which involves, going into the darkness. Sometimes it involves interacting with the material. You can't just renounce the material world. I mean, you can, but that's not the path that's called out for most of us. Most of us, we're actually here to shift the material world, and we have to literally roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty and do the work, do the heavy lifting. Like, that's why the souls that are here right now are just so immensely beautiful and powerful, even if you feel like you're struggling, because to be on Earth at this time, in this shift, is immense. And remember that warrior spirit. Remember the big picture. Remember your mission. Why are you here? Again, that's what always kind of brings me back, is coming to the big picture. Again, for me, and I feel like, this is a really general thing, so I guess it applies to all of us, but it's about bringing love to the earth. That is the answer that I get in my heart of why I'm here, is to bring love to the earth, because I feel connected to such beautiful, beautiful love, and we all are. And when I remember that, then it's like, okay, what am I doing? Are these things that I'm so worried about, that I'm stressing and so anxious about, do they even matter? And I'm not saying they don't matter, but it's like, it just kind of gives you a new perspective um, on things. It makes things clearer, because it's easy when you're only down here. You can get really like tunnel vision on these details, and then I feel like sometimes that can be like distracting, because again, with the stories in the mind, it becomes our whole reality. Our whole reality has become, I need to accomplish this goal, or I need to fix this relationship. We can get like really strong tunnel vision on things, but when you come back to the bigger picture, it's like, oh yeah, like, I know what I need to do, because I'm here on assignment, I'm here on mission, I'm here to live my human life. It's a balance, because they're both interconnected. What you came Everything you're doing as a human being, everything you're healing, everything you're transmuting, everything you're observing, everything you're experiencing, and all you are as an eternal soul. It's a divine balance. It's a divine juggling, and that's, again, just one of my biggest intentions going forward. So that said, yeah, subliminal vibrations. That's a really beautiful thing as well. I was kind of getting into earlier, is coming into that trigger. Coming into um, and this is just so important, is coming into, and hi Richard, thanks for saying hi, it's sweet of you, much love to you, miss you, brother. And hi Sir Eel Guy, yes, fellow Ohioan, thank you for being here. But yeah, um, healing that part, that is so important. That's beautiful. I'm so glad you said that. Subliminal vibrations. It is healing. That'll give you so much wisdom too. Is to heal the part of you that's hurt. Whatever it is, inner child, um, insecurity or whatever it is. But not in a way that you're beating yourself up or judgmental. There's nothing to be ashamed about. People beat themselves up so much about their shortcomings, but it's just part of being human. It's okay. It's okay. We all have these things. You're not alone. But having, again, nurturing and having compassion for that part of yourself. And a lot of times you always have to bring it back to yourself, and that's the thing that sometimes is hard, but you always have to bring it back to yourself, and again, not to beat yourself up about it or punish yourself. It's the opposite of that. It's just to come back and learn the needed lesson, heal the needed thing, to see it as a lesson, to see it as a blessing. It's some part of you. Everything that is arising in your life is arising for a specific reason. It's not by accident. Our higher self straight up designs these things to happen for us, because it's like, okay, it's time to learn this now so you can get to the next level. So I really see it like that, and that really helps me with my life. It's like, because the thing is, and this is why you have to take responsibility like that, it's not to punish you, but it's because when you take responsibility for it and you do that healing work, you go within, you do the work, whatever it is. Writing, I can't emphasize the importance of writing enough. Writing, journaling, whatever the case may be, writing how you feel and just sorting it out, working it through, feeling it and healing it. All of these things that we talk about a lot on this channel. Because when you do that, again, that's the real work. Everything just mirrors it. Everything truly mirrors it. So it's like, if you did that work, that person might literally just like fade away into the background. Or I'm not. I again, I don't know how it is in your case. Whatever's going on with you, but it's like the physical world will automatically reflect that you've worked that out within yourself. It'll automatically just work out. That's what I mean when we have projections towards people. And again, it's not saying that the other person is valid in what they did. It just means that, again, we take responsibility for us and how we feel. Because if we don't do that, again, the universe, it's just going to keep mirroring us. Like the world around us, it's going to keep mirroring. And you can just keep mirroring that for a long time until you do that work. And then it just magically resolves. So remember, it really is an inside job, as they say. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Saturated with gratitude. Ashman, it's colossal to be here now. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again for bringing that up, Angie. And it's so brave to bring that up. I feel like it's so bold to bring that up. It's very vulnerable. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's so just amazing. Like, much love to you, sister. Incredible. And I am sure everyone needed to hear that, because again, we're going into the holiday season, and for a lot of people, that's a really stressful time that we need to remember it. For me, I'm going to be around people that I love dearly, but it doesn't mean that they still don't trigger the fuck out of me sometimes. And I have to deal with that in myself. And I can, I say this, it's so easy for me to say this now, but when I'm in it, it's not always easy. I have to really recall this information, to really go into my heart. And, so much of it is remembering. I can't believe we're already an hour into this, you guys. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been talking for 20 minutes. I guess time flies when you're having fun. So I'm going to get into the next part now. I love you all. Thanks for all of you that are still with me. I really honor you. And I feel so blessed, that to have this community, and that people, stick with me and hang out with me on this beautiful moon day evening, for over an hour. It's just such a blessing. And, whether you're here live or on the replay. So let's just get into, again, the solstice. I just want to touch on this because I feel like this is coming through as well. If you just take a moment, actually, you can feel, at least I can, going into, again, from the northern hemisphere, this winter solstice. And what that really means is, as obviously, it's the darkest time of the year. What that translates to, and what I mean by organic darkness, because this is so important too, that I just want to emphasize, is there, I've come to find that there's a very important difference to understand about darkness, what I'm calling organic darkness, um, which what I mean is lack of light. I've talked about this before. That darkness is simply lack of light. It's the mystery. It's like the mother's womb. It's dark, but that's what allows for the light to come in and create. That's the natural balance of earth, is that darkness, um, that blackness, that mystery. It makes me think of the stars. It makes me think of, in the darkness is where the light shines the brightest. That's so beautiful. So there's a difference between that darkness. I feel like people honestly get this, they like to like combine these things, and it's really not true in my experience. There's a difference between that darkness and when we call darkness like evil, and that could be a whole tangent on its own. And for me, I have to understand these things. I have to understand the darkness. I have to understand the evil. It's just part of why I'm here. Um, because that that's different. That is like, evil is not just lack of light. What we experience in this dimension, this it's honestly a lot of people, it is, you could call it like a great mystery, because like that evil, that iniquity, it goes deep, and it is a rabbit hole, and it is hard to understand. I want to understand the evil, not because I want to do evil or be evil. It's the exact opposite. It's just, I feel like we have to understand it so we're not gullible to it, so that I feel like you can see a lot of people who don't, especially in 2020 was a good example. It's like people who deny the existence of evil, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, they don't think it is real or that it exists. Maybe somehow they've gone throughout their life and they've never actually had to experience it. To me, that is like, just sets you up to be so naive, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to go there, and they don't want to talk about it. And I don't know. I think that can be hard sometimes. I think it's really, really important to acknowledge, not in a way like that you're obsessed with it, but just in a way that, because you don't need to fear it, but it's like, if you don't know what it even is or how it even works at all, if you don't understand the difference between the beautiful organic darkness that I'm going to be speaking about, and the abomination of evil that is harming innocent people, and again, I know it goes back to free will, and it goes back to like a real history of why we're here. But yeah, I just had to say that, because I don't like when people get that mixed up. It's like, I think that's really, really damaging. Because when I'm talking about this darkness, I'm not talking about evil or abuse or harming innocent people. Like, that's completely different. Completely different. I think humanity. I wish for humanity to understand that more, um, and have more discernment with that. But anyways, maybe we'll go into that later at another time. But it's just so important. But So let's go back to the organic darkness, the true darkness, the balance, the sacred balance of that light and dark. So the solstice is the rebirth of the light. It's so beautiful. So when I tap into this energy now, I can just feel that sacred darkness. Like, I can just feel, like, I feel like I'm in the mother's womb, like the sacred divine mother's womb. That's the best way for me to describe it. It's like, it's that, it just feels so peaceful. Honestly, it's so quiet, it's so still, it's dark, it's full of infinite possibilities of creation. That's what I feel in this energy, where again, like, it gets dark at like 4:30, and it's just so still. And I feel like, usually for myself and for many, it's like winter is like the harder time of the year, because I think really why that is, though, is because we've been so out of touch with nature. And this is why we have these holidays. This is why our ancestors celebrated the winter solstice like their lives depended on it, because it did. Whether you call it Christmas, um, Yule, winter solstice, I know there's all kinds of names for it. It doesn't, everyone has their own, may have their own way of seeing it, traditions. But the thing is it's so important to tune into your inner energy, your inner light during this time. Like your life depends on it, because again, that is why for a lot of people this is the hardest time of the year, because of that darkness, because of that lack of light, because of the cold, the barren. That this is a time where it's really, really restful. And I've just learned how important it is to be in tune with nature, because as I've been doing that, I've found that winter, in its own completely different opposite way, is just as enjoyable as the glory of summer and as the glory of the season of the sun. And I've really, really had to learn this. And for me, I don't know if anybody here is into astrology. I love astrology. um, I was born in February, so that's probably like, usually again up north, that's like usually the coldest, most barren, perhaps you could say even most depressing month for a lot of people, because it's just you're at the end of that winter season, and it's like, when is the sun going to come out? But there's a sacred energy you can actually extract from that I've learned, and I'm grateful to be able to discuss that. And I invite everyone to contemplate on that. When you can find this sacredness in that, like somebody, C.H. Dante, Blessed Days, Sacred Nights, from that beautiful song, What a Wonderful World. And it's exactly, both of them are just as equally as sacred. It's the two sides of the whole, just like again, coming back to the balance, which is just such a huge theme, is like your divinity, your higher self is so beautiful, your light. And so is in this example I'm talking about, your organic darkness, your mysteries, your, like, I don't know how to say it other than like black space that you are creating from, that beauty of the light and the dark, creating, the masculine and the feminine, creating. So, in the summer, and I invite everyone to notice this if you haven't already, it's just an energy. Everything in the summer, everything is going off. Everything is popping off, and it's so glorious and expansive and beautiful. The sun is out, it's warm, nature is thriving. Even the whole reality is different. It's like everything is just like people are working, whether you're literally planting and harvesting and growing seeds, or whether metaphorically, that's when all of that's the peak manifestation energy, is the sun, is the Leo, and that is so exciting and beautiful. But we can also learn to be in harmony with every single part of the cycle. We talked about, like, in the fall equinox, the harvest, also going into the darker time. Now in the solstice, celebrating this period of rest and stillness and silence and solitude. Really, really soak it in, because that's what's going to give you the most beautiful, blessed upcoming year. That's what's going to give you the most beautiful, blessed harvest next year, is being in align with this energy, and really, really allowing yourself to rest. I think that's part of the matrix, is like there's like, they want to like make this time like super stressful, like, ah, da, 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 da. And gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this. But just remember, the true spirit of this time is about resting, and it's about the stillness. It is about gratitude and giving, and I love that part of this part of the holiday. I love giving gifts, I love receiving gifts. I think that's just so beautiful. But just remember the true intentions of it. It's not just about having to buy all these expensive things, and people get so stressed out about this and running around and feeling guilty and stuff like that. No, it's just about really enjoying it, enjoying this time, resting with people you love, being generous, being giving, being receptive. Yes, there is music in the background. That would be my beautiful friends that live upstairs, that we lovingly call the hippies. Beautiful people. Jamming out, but hopefully it's not too distracting, or it's just like background music. But yeah, so I just want to invite you to contemplate on that. And just because for me, again, I don't know if it's just because like my birthday is, our birthdays, Our sun seasons are very, very powerful times for us, for all of us. That's one of the most special times of the year for creation, just so you know, side note. But, again, for me, mine is in February, which is like the really barren month, frankly. And, but learning to just enjoy that peace, it's the contrast of, like I said, in the summer, everything is like just going off and it's so beautiful. But this is a time when everything is just like so still and quiet and peaceful. It's like I can just rest. Isn't that just so nice? I can just just rest. So I just want to emphasize that because there's so much joy. There really is. Every single year, I'm learning and tapping more into nature. And again, I'm speaking in the northern hemisphere, specifically the north, where we have seasons. But apply this to your own seasons because everything is always has a balance wherever you are. And this is just the example of the fractal, the sine wave, the moon cycles. It's like really it is like everything is like a sine wave like that. It's like the new beginning, the new moon, coming up, and then you have the full moon, you have the full manifestation, you have the summer, and then the fall coming down into the rest, into the winter, into the new moon, and everything is a beautiful fractal like that. So I love to observe that. There's just a lot of sacredness in tapping into that and just giving yourself to that energy, instead of trying to resist it, instead of trying to fight it. If you're living in somewhere where it's cold, it's like doesn't have to be summer all the time. I mean, it can be. You can move down south, and that's totally fine too. But for me, living up here, and I know I'm here for a reason. It's like it's just so beautiful to tap into that. And what is the solstice? I think I've already said it. It is the rebirth of the light, and it just feels so good to say that because I can't. It's so weird, isn't it, you guys? How fast time is moving. I know people say as you get older that happens, and I know that's true, but it's like I really 100% know it's beyond that. Time is so. I feel like we just had our equinox. I feel like we just started going into the dark season, and now it's like we're already at that midpoint where it's going to start getting lighter. We've already made it past like that descension point. I mean, we still have a couple more days, but I can already feel like that energy. So it's just such a sacred time. I invite you to here's a practice that I'm doing that has just served me so well. So I want to share it. Is like I said in my last video, like taking stock. Something that is so awesome to do is when you have a moment. And I can't emphasize like the power of a paper and a pen, of writing. It's such a transformative thing for us to be able to do. But I encourage you when you get time to maybe light a candle and out a pen and paper and write down everything that you've accomplished this year, everything you've learned this year, no matter how big and how small. And this is such a rewarding experience, and it's just something that will help you to cultivate gratitude and wisdom. All of the things, there's a lot of things. I don't care who you are. I know there's a lot of things that we have all learned and accomplished this year. Whether it's overcoming insecurities, whether it's activating our abilities, whether it's accomplishing certain goals. It's truly astonishing. The year of 2022 was truly the best year of my life so far, and I wish that for everyone. But I know it has a lot to do with the fact that I always intend wholeheartedly that every year is the best year of my life. Only every year is only getting better. And I know 2023 is going to be the best year of my life. And it doesn't mean that it's just only ease and I don't have challenges, and like it's not about that. It's about all the things that I've created. It's about all the things that I've been through, everything that I've learned, all of the lessons. When you look at it like that, how could this year not be the best year of your life? When you're living in balance like this with yourself, with your higher self, with nature, how could it not be the best year of your life? Cultivating, that's what to me true joy is. It's not just everything is always working out for you in your reality outside of you. It's more having such unconditional love for yourself. Everything I've been talking about today about coming into the heart, that's where it starts. Having such continuing to grow and progress that unconditional love you have for yourself, for what is, for others. Continuing to grow that, nobody can ever take that away from you. how is every upcoming year not going to be the best year of your life when you're holding on to that mastery, you know? And also, again, so I really encourage you to talk about all those accomplishments, all the things you've learned, every insecurity you've overcome, everything, every lesson, everything. Just take a moment to reflect upon that and honor the year 2022, because that's another part of being in our divine mastery, is having honor and reverence. That alone, having honor and reverence for everything. I try to have honor and reverence for everything. Even, like, for example, if I'm throwing away an old toothbrush because I got a new one, I will literally take a moment to honor that old toothbrush because it served me. It's like having gratitude for everything. But then also, in another piece of paper, write all the things you want to create in this year. Write all of your intentions. For me, I write all of them. Whether, again, it's something you want to accomplish, whether it's an actual goal you want to complete, you want to launch a business or something. And the inner things, because to me, the inner things are the most important. So for me, one of my biggest things for 2023 is trust. That is something I'm already getting a head start because I've been really, really practicing that. But that is one of my biggest intentions for the year 2023, is to really unconditionally trust myself and God, and the universe, to trust my guides, to trust what is unfolding for me. And I'm already tapped into that, because to me, that's just one of the most beautiful things, that's something every morning in my meditation, I practice that. I practice tuning into my heart, and I imagine that pillar of light going up into the sky, into the infinity, into the cosmos, up, our higher selves, because we all are directly connected to God, and feeling that love and that trust and that surrender. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me, and remember, a lot of times our greatest challenges are our greatest gifts. That's almost always the case. So for me, to be honest and vulnerable, one of my greatest challenges has always been doubt. Doubt in myself, doubt in what I'm saying, doubt in my visions, doubt in my gifts and my abilities. It's always been doubt. I've always had to just really cultivate that warrior spirit and stop submitting to the doubt, because the doubt is so false, and maybe that sometimes, you could say that's a good thing, as far as, it's good it kind of maybe helps to have discernment and to really, really know what you're talking about. But there comes a point when, you're just hurting yourself when you're doubting God, when you're connected to God and you're doubting, what God is showing you or what God is giving you. You don't feel good enough, you know. So for me, that's my biggest thing, and I already know that it's unfolding, because when we set intentions, that's powerful, and this is one of the most powerful times to set your intentions, because it's like being at ground zero. It's the birth of the light. You're literally cultivating the seeds. You're not even planting the seeds yet. You're literally gathering the seeds. So take advantage of that energetic flow that is naturally arising. It's so powerful. It's so important to be in that flow with, the sacred earth, because that's the big magnet that we're all standing on, is the earth, and the sun and the moon and the stars. So yeah, it's a really, really beautiful time to set those intentions, not just outside of you, but internally. Maybe you want to be in your heart more. That's another one of mine, being in my heart more, having more faith, having balance in my life. These are some of the things that are really, really in my intentions, that I already know are going to blossom beautifully this year, even more, more than ever. So it's just so exciting, beautiful, and just appreciate that, just holding these seeds. That's what it feels like, really. It's just to hold these seeds. This heart energy. Invite the hippies down for a jam session next week. That would be amazing. I love that. Ashman always has the best ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Angie. When you realize that buying into the fear of not taking an action is the only way you guarantee that it won't happen, then doubt seems silly. Yes. Oh, yes. That is so good. Anyone else get the scrolling wheel of death? Never mind. No idea what you're talking about, Vince, but maybe someone does. I don't know what that is. Interesting. But oh my gosh, yes. Thank you, Eternal Truth, for sharing that reminder. That is so beautifully said. Yeah. Oh, that means you froze out. That makes sense. I guess I could have put that together. It's funny. Let's see if there's anything else. Just so much love. So proud of everyone, truly. Just give yourselves love and compassion. It starts at home. It starts with yourself. You know, can't emphasize that enough. Again, cultivating unconditional love and compassion for yourself. I don't know what could be more valuable of a practice than that, because everything in your life is just going to raise naturally, and everything around you is going to reflect that. Because if you're constantly battling yourself and you have these constant afflictions within your own self, it's going to mirror around you. So really, I invite that as an intention for all of us, for all of humanity, even for the collective, that we can have more true unconditional love for ourselves and inherently for others. So proud of you all. So proud of you all, truly. So proud of all of us. It's just incredible what we've been doing. It's so tangible. When I look back at the things I've done this year, I gotta say, like, I really am just so thankful. I can't even believe all the things I accomplished this year. I'm like, whoa, that is like seriously, you know, I love myself like that. I really love myself for that. And everything I've been able to do is it truly astonished. And I'm really, really grateful. And obviously, I say that with humility, but, I'm just so grateful to be here and to have that relationship with myself. And I know that it's only going to get better. And I cannot wait for 2023. And you already know that's one of the intentions that I set for this year, is that it's going to be the best year ever of my life. And I already know that it is. But setting that intention clearly just makes it that much more powerful. So I invite everyone to do that if you haven't already. It is going to be the most beautiful year for us. Throughout everything, throughout the joys and the ups and the downs and the accomplishments and the failures and the lessons, everything that is just part of us coming into who we are for our mission. All right. If no one has any more questions or anything, comments or queries, I think that we're gonna have a little meditation and prayer just to end this beautiful session. Thank you all. I honor and respect all of you again for being here with me. It's so fun, so fun. I feel like I could talk for hours. Yeah, the momentum is really growing. Thank you, Anna. Love you so much. Love you so much. Can't wait to see you. Thank you, Angie. Yeah. Yeah, I really reflect on everything, seriously, because when you do that, you just take the time, you're like, holy shit, I am a warrior. I'm a badass. Look at all of these things I've done, all of these things I've accomplished. Because again, that ego wants to play small. Oh, well, I haven't really done anything, or I'm always struggling, or I'm not doing very good. I have all these shortcomings. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's that I'm talking about. Love yourself, honor yourself. Really, that is part of why we're here, because that's how we show humanity how to be sovereign. It starts with us. That's the service. That's the true service. Remember, we are here to serve. We are not here to project on others. We are not here to fix others. We're truly here to be who we are, and that's how we serve. Because that's how Jesus served. That's how Mary Magdalene served. True compassion. Contemplate on that. What is true compassion? It's not this shallow, superficial thing that we're taught. It's what really is compassion. And how can I have more of it in my life? That's another goal for me in 2023. More compassion for myself and others. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Vince. Beautiful one. Thank you. All right. So just a quick little meditation. Just take a time to integrate everything we talked about and learned today. I hope that all of your intentions you saw through. I wore this festive Christmas shirt, and I forgot to even mention it. It's actually broken, but yeah, it's got a cat on it, of course, because if you know me, you know I love cats. quick side note too, because I always use sound, and I just want to encourage everyone. Sound opens up a vortex. So anytime you state an intention and you have sound with it, just makes it so much more powerful. My friend has these angel bell prayers. It's so sweet that he sends me. This one looks like a goddess or an angel, and saying a little prayer, and may we all have the most beautiful winter solstice and year of 2023 to come. Sends it, just sends it immediately. I highly recommend. Use it as beautifully simple as an angel bell prayer. So if you can, take a moment to close your eyes now, ending this beautiful session with all these beautiful kindred spirits, these beautiful souls, all of us on our journey to be the best we can be, so we can serve humanity, to align with God's will, the highest, the holiest, the most beautiful, the most expansive, the most joyful, the most fun. Tap into that energy in your heart, just in your heart. You can even put your hand on your beautiful, beautiful, sacred heart. Breathing into it, allowing all of this love, all of this wisdom to fully integrate into your heart, into your body. Feeling gratitude for all the beautiful ones, for all of the beautiful souls incarnated on earth doing this work, all of the amazing ascended masters, angels, divine feminine, divine masculine. So many benevolent sources of love and light assisting us every day. Tap in. They are here to help us. And just tap into the energy of the spirit of the earth and of the collective right now. Don't think about it. We all have this ability. We can do it. Just feel it. Just feel that beautiful, organic darkness, that peace, that solitude, that silence, that fulfilling rest. Allowing ourselves to fully lean into that darkness, lean into that sacred silence, lean into that rest. Because before you know it, it's going to be spring. And we're going to be planting, sowing. Every part of the journey is so sacred. Just enjoy it right now. Because it's always moving. It's always shifting. Always changing. Only thing that is constant is change. Just learn to flow with it. Flow with everything that life gives to you. It's not just about what you get. It's not just about what you're waiting for. It's about the way in which you're waiting for it. That will determine your whole experience. So just enjoy it. There's nowhere to rush to. In your heart, you are beyond all space and time. You are not limited by time or space. You know who you are. An eternal being of love that is unshakable, undoubtable, unbreakable, unslavable. That's who you are. Remember that. Remember. God bless you. God bless all of humanity. God bless the earth. God bless the sun. God bless the moon. God bless the animals. God bless the bugs. God bless the fires, and the waters, and the airs, and the earths, divine mothers, divine fathers, sacred children, Trinity, all the beauty of creation within us all. God bless it for the highest love. Just drink it all in, lean into it, surrender into it, allow it in. It is who you are. Infinite love, infinite beauty, infinite joy and purpose. Just for being who you are right now. That's all it is. It's simple. So it is. Let's send this off into the universe. Just see it. I can see it. It's like colorful rays of every color blasting off into the universe, blessing the whole world, blessing humanity, blessing us all. Thank you all. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. Have a beautiful Christmas, beautiful winter solstice, beautiful Yuletide. Happy New Year. I'll see you before then, but God bless, God bless, God bless, beautiful creative beings. I'll see you next time. Bye.